You get $1,500 every month, Grandma asked, but I never got a whiff. My parents stole $54,000 from Ivan. Brother lied about it in front of everyone. My name is Noah. I'm 21 years old. Ange asked me a question at my grandmother's 75th birthday party in front of my whole family. Question that caused a ruckus and destroyed our lives. Before I tell you how I found a web of lies, black that it almost destroyed me, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. The air in my grandma Eleanor's dining room smelled strongly of roast beef, and sweet. It was a beautiful fall evening outside, and the leaves were changing color. The baking apple pie was cooling on the counter. Bright shades of red and gold filled the house with warmth and laughter. It was her 75th birthday. Everyone in the family had come together to celebrate my Uncle Edward's important birthday. He was holding a cord at one end of Foro on the table, telling a loud, booming story, while my Aunt Susan listened with a sly grin, always on the lookout for a new piece of gossip. My cousins were laughing, and their faces looked happy and carefree. For a moment, I saw my dad Daniel laugh at one of my uncle's jokes, and my mom Linda smile with that beautiful smile, putting myself at ease. We almost looked normal and happy, like a family in a Thanksgiving movie, sitting still at the feast like a ghost, trying to soak up some of the warmth. These were moments of luxury that I didn't have the money because my life was too busy with classes, learning, and 2 part-time jobs that drained my energy and barely paid for my education and cheap housing. But for Grandma Eleanor, I would always be there for her. I would do anything for her. She was our family's centered out at 75. She was smarter than people half her age, and her eyes seemed to see right through you. She looked at me across the table and gave her a warm smile. It was a smile of love that made me feel something about my parents that I hadn't felt in years. She waited for a break in the talking. Then, her loud, clear voice cut through the background noise. The room went silent, suddenly quiet. Everyone respected her. Noah, dear. She told them all. I could feel her attention on me. I keep forgetting to ask, is the college costs a lot these days? So the $1,500 I send you every month is enough. Please let me know if you need more money for rent or books. The fork in my hand stopped moving and stayed there halfway to Myth World. Seemed to stop when I ate mashed potatoes. 12 pairs-many eyes looked at me. I tried to understand what she said. $1,5. They paid my rent every month with that much money, more than I made in 2 months of hard work. With that much cash, I could buy all of my books and maybe even fix my phone's broken screen. Before I could stop myself, I let out a short, confused laugh. It was loud in the room, which had become very quiet. What money, Grandma? Nothing was said for a long time. There was silence. It wasn't just a break in the conversation. The air got thick and hard to breathe. The laughter brought warmth, and in an instant, all of my happiness was gone. I looked around the table and saw that no one was looking at me anymore. My parents were being watched by my uncle, aunt, and cousins. My mom's face was a scary mask of frozen happiness. The smile was still there, but it was broken and ugly, like a china doll about to break. My dad's jaw had. He looked at his plate as if it held the secrets of the universe. He was calm, and his face had turned pale. Brother Jason, the beautiful child and the center of their lives, had a muscle in his cheek that was jerking all over the place. A picture of the family had just been torn apart, and Grandma Eleanor's warm smile had been replaced by a cold, icy one. She didn't need to raise her voice. The poison in her voice was enough. Scarier than any scream. Linda, Daniel explains, to understand what it means off that one word. You must first understand the space my parents had made for me. It wasn't just a lie about money. It was a lie about everything. The room was silent, but it wasn't new. It was the same quiet that had followed all of my small successes. Over the course of 21 years, the silence had answered all of my whispered pleas for help. That was put together one brick at a time. Let me paint a better picture of my life. I had to drag myself out of bed at 6 a.m. every Tuesday to go to my first job at the school library for 2 hours. The quiet hum of the library was a stark contrast to my busy life. The lessons don't end until 3 p.m., so I wouldn't go to a coffee shop after class. I would wait at my second job, a greasy cafe downtown, while my friends and I went shopping. Tables until 11 p.m. shift ends. I remember one night very clearly. A group of unruly customers had splattered ketchup all over the table and spilled Coke all over the floor. My boss has a habit. A grumpy man named S just pointed to it and said, my phone rang while it was a picture from my brother Jason's Instagram page. I was on my knees cleaning up the sticky mess. He and his fiancée Rachel were raising their drinks at a fancy rooftop bar where the city lights were shining brightly. Behind them, it said, living the good life. I tasted something harsh, finished washing my hands and felt a raw throat. My back hurt, and I left with $23 in tips. That was a good life. My brother's life was a separate book by a different author in my parenson, my view. He was the hero of our family's story. I was just a footnote. An apartment with a view in downtown, paid for his car, and gave him cash when he needed it. They called it an investment in his future. I had a hard time because I was tired and always worried about making rent. Cold building, character as if pain were a good thing. The unfairness was always with me. a slow throb of anger that I carried with me everywhere. But the real poison was a promise began a family well. That promise was my only source of hope. I was 18 years old and stood in the same dining room with my acceptance letter to college in hand. I was so happy to have finished as Victorian, and got a small academic grant, so I thought they would be too. My parents gave a short speech, before giving their full attention to Jason, who was excitedly talking about his new idea. They said, "Good job, son. To start a show about craft beer?" I felt like I was shrinking and disappearing. But Grandma Eleanor saw me. She always saw me and pulled me into the kitchen away from everyone else and took the letter from me. She read it herself. Noah looked at her with real pride in his eyes and said, "This is great." She put her hands on my shoulders and looked me straight in the eyes. "You have a fire in you, a bright mind. Don't ever let them or anyone else take that away from you. Do you hear me?" I nodded, as I felt a lump in my throat as she hugged me tightly and said, "Good. Listen up. Your only job is to go to that college and learn. Concentrate on your work, and don't even think about money. I'll take care of you. Every month I'll send you an allowance that's more than enough. For anything you need, I need to say this. You are the best purchase I've ever made." I cried in her kitchen because I was so relieved and thankful. Her promise wasn't just about money. It was also about approval, that someone in my family believed in me. That promise saved my life. So when I started college and there was no money for weeks or months, and it was very confusing. Did she forget? Did I miss something? Was I not there? Not worth the money spent at all? The shame and stress of looking rude kept him quiet. I told myself I could handle it. I got a job when that wasn't enough. I ordered a second one. Building characters has been my life's work. About 6 months into my first I hit a wall last year. I was failing a class. I was always sick, and I was desperate and about to drop out. So I finally worked up the courage to talk to them, my mom, about the money. I found her in the kitchen putting together a bunch of lilies that looked very expensive. I cleared my throat and hummed, "Hey mom, can I ask you a quick question?" She stopped humming and smiled in a polite but faraway way. "Of course, dear, just wondering. Did Grandma ever say anything about helping me pay for college?" To act like it wasn't a big deal, her nice smile got tighter. What do you mean?" "She said a while ago that she might send some money to help, and I was just wondering if the checks were sent here by mistake or something." Her laugh was high-pitched and nasty. "Noah, you're 21 years old. Old. Are you kidding me? You want an allowance? Your brother is out there making a living for himself. You're independent, but you're here looking for help. I thought we taught you, too, to be more independent than that." Dot was a carefully placed knife, meant to make me feel small and ashamed. "But, Mom," I stuttered the unfair thing that was making my face red. "Jason lives in Ann. He lives in an apartment you pay for, and drives a car you bought him. I worked 2 jobs because Grandma promised me she would." "Stone, don't you dare use that tone with me," she yelled, her voice cold. "We have a lot of bills to pay, so don't be so selfish. Your brother needs our help right now. He's under a lot of stress." "What's wrong with you, Noah? That's something you should understand. Be thankful that you can go to college at all. Learning to walk on your own makes you a better person." It was character again. That was why they did everything. I just stood there, my throat closing up from the lies that were filling the room. She had not only stolen the only thing that had stayed was the promise and the cash she had taken. They got mad at me and taught me a lesson about how selfish I was. I never asked again. I just pulled inward, worked harder, and let the deception turn into a knot in my